नमो हिरण्यवाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतये अम्बिकापतये उमापतये पशुपतये नमो नमः। ॐ नमो हिरण्यवाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतये अम्बिकापतये उमापतये पशुपतये नमो नमः। ॐ नमो हिरण्यवाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतये अम्बिकापतये उमापतये पशुपतये नमो नमः। सर्वविद्यानां ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। ईशानः सर्वविद्यानां ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। ईशानः सर्वविद्यानां ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वाग्विशुद्धाय धीमहि तन्नः शिवः प्रचोदयात्। महादेवाय विद्महे रुद्रमूर्तये धीमहि तन्नः शिवः प्रचोदयात्।
Alrighty. Hey, good evening, you guys. I wanted to have a quick discussion. This is not going to be a very long discussion at all. And I'm only going to touch on this subject because this is a phase of my life that I have passed. And it's something that I just don't deal with anymore. But I do want to put my 2 cents in as far as when it comes to being somebody's baby daddy, you know, and being an ex with someone that you have children with. And, you know, the main thing that I see, okay, a lot, because I do a lot of readings for women. I don't do a lot of readings for men, but I do a lot of readings for women who have children with a man that he just don't want to let go of the situation. Okay. They left him for whatever reason. It did not work out. That person did not jive well with them. They were not making their lives easier or better. They were making their lives worse. It was a struggle. And so for whatever reason, they decided to leave the situation. And lots of different reasons. Women have a lot of different reasons for leaving a man. Okay. And so in my experience, especially being that, you know, I left somebody years ago and I was actually single for years because he just didn't want to let it go. He didn't. In fact, I ended up having to move out of my hometown after the children got older. And it was just stalkery ever since. Okay. And this is the reality of it. As a man or a woman, if you are constantly fighting with your ex and your energy is not going in to being a father or a mother to those children, well, then that's why they left you in the first place. Because if the situation ended and then 2 or 3 years later, you're still whining and complaining about why that person left, and then also you're speaking curses over your children, you're saying things like nobody's going to want you, nobody's going to want the children, you know, and that actually puts your kids at a disadvantage, which was probably the reason why the woman left you in the first place. Because instead of you putting your energy into supporting your children, you're putting your energy into trying to either, number one, force somebody to stay with you. And see, this is something that a lot of people did. I've actually met men like this who believe that if they get you pregnant, this is going to secure a permanent household for them. And that's just not the case. So this is why there's a lot of men out there that go around, they get several women pregnant, and they think that this is going to create a family, and that's not what it is. So just because you have children with somebody does not mean that that person has to be tied with you. And in fact, when you are fighting against the situation, your children end up at a disadvantage, not because you're not there, but because you have created so much drama. And then also you got to watch how you talk about your own children. Okay. It is in the best interest of the children to have a significant other, mate, lover, or husband or wife that is stable. If you are somebody that is not stable, having children with somebody is not going to make you stable. It's not. Okay. It doesn't work that way. So you can't continue to get angry and waste your life and waste your time whining and complaining about the fact that the woman left you or the man left you. You can't do that because that's totally not in the best interest of your children. Now, I know that if you're going to look at a situation, you have to look at it individually. There are some people that do have children to try to keep a man. There are some people that do have children to try to keep the woman. Well, for me, I always wanted children. So that's why being a mother is very easy to me. I don't sit around and whine and complain. You know, I just take care of my responsibilities. But there's a lot of people, they know that they have a responsibility to take care of, but they deflect from that responsibility by blaming the person that's taking care of the children. And by putting all of this baggage onto them. You've already brought children into this world that you had no intent of supporting. And then what you're going to do after that is you are going to purposely put stuff out there on your children, and your children are going to hate you because of that. Because you know what? If you would have shut up, that woman or that man would have been done found somebody that was good for them. Because see, that's the whole point of having a partner, is to be a help partner, a help meet, to take care of the children, take care of the household. If you're somebody that's constantly deflecting, constantly blaming, constantly doing that, then what you produce are children that are abandoned. And then you continue with that abandon. So the reason why the woman left you in the first place is because you abandoned her and the children. That's the reason why she left in the first place, or he left in the first place, because it was something that you were not doing that was not up to standard. And if you are a man that is not up to par and you don't have the capability of supporting your family, in this day and age, you can lead your family and your children to a certain death. And so, y'all ever hear those stories about when the woman is ready to leave and the man murders the children? I actually heard this very same person talk that way, saying that, I'll take them all out. I've actually heard people say that publicly, which is why I don't understand why people even still listen to that crap, but it is what it is, okay? If some of these men, if they actually allow the women and the children to live and breathe, they're killing them in other ways. So as a man, you can actually create a generational hex in your children's lives by doing that. Because for whatever reason in the world, that woman did not want you no more. She didn't. And you can't sit up there and try to use the children. So this is when somebody is trying to use the children as a pawn to get what they want out of that woman. That woman or that man obviously did not want the relationship anymore. Okay. Now, for me, I'm the type of person to where I'll do spiritual work. Rarely do seldom do I have a woman come to me and saying to me, my husband's about to leave me. Okay, with these kids. I don't have that. Typically, it's women that have been single for years and years and years, and their ex who doesn't take care of the children, instead of them being a help for the children. Because first of all, if you're speaking in terms of stepfathers and stepmothers, if you were being a father or a mother to your child, would there be a need for a stepfather? I can honestly say that I have 4 children and all of my children have a father. Even my youngest one, I talk to his father all the time. Okay. So when you're looking at the situation from that side, you're constantly focused on the fact, you're focused on the negative, which was probably the reason why that person left you in the first place. When you have somebody that's constantly focusing on the negative, usually they will bring poverty into your life, and they just have that really, really heavy weight on you. And they're really not doing anything. They really have no intent of supporting the children. And women that have children deserve a partner that is going to support them in every way. Spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally. Those are all of the jobs of a man. And see, if you are incapable of doing that, it is very selfish for you to hold that woman and them kids, almost like you hold them hostage. You don't want to let go. And it throws everything off balance. You see what I'm saying? So it would be better for you to learn the lesson and see, you can carry this into several lifetimes, and your children can carry it into several lifetimes, especially if you're dealing with a woman that doesn't know magic like Jamila does. And, they're just stuck. You know what I'm saying? They feel stuck because that man or either that woman has spoken negativity over their own children to the point where they're like, well, if she don't want me, because they're, folk being, they feel, well, if she don't want me, don't nobody want her, and ain't nobody gonna want you. And then they just go and go and go. And then the next thing you know, your children are carrying that burden around with them. And it's so depressing. It's very depressing. It really honestly is. And and this is something that a lot of men are going to have to learn, just because a woman has a child with you does not mean that you own her. So a lot of these men don't understand that, and you've got to accept it. That's the only thing that you can do. Otherwise, people are going to avoid you. People are going to not want to talk because you still talking that same old crap. And they like, I don't want to hear this. I shouldn't have to stay with you just because of negative reasons. There should be positive reasons as to why I would want to stay with you. It shouldn't be, no, baby, don't leave me because ain't nobody gonna want you. And I'm gonna make sure that nobody want them kids. And I'm gonna make sure that. No, you need to give that woman a reason to stay with you. Why would she stay with you if all it is negative? Because she can literally change her name, move away, change her address. And then, you know, and you know what's sad about it is that even doing that, these men that have these umbilical cord attachments, because usually when a woman leaves a man, it's because he can't provide. Okay. And however a man provides is up to you. Whatever it is that that man does for you. I'm not even talking about just money. I'm talking about all of the things that go in to being a man, which money, let me tell you something. Money is a representation of your energy. And if you are a man, okay, especially a man, because men are supposed to be the providers, right? And if you're a man and you can't provide for your children, then just prepare to get left. If you're a man and you're punching holes in the wall and you're kicking doors down and you're calling the woman's job and you're making the woman lose the jobs and stuff like that, because I done been through the whole thing. I done had my ex call down to my job, try to make me lose my job. He did make me lose my job. He did. I've had all of that happen to me. And you know what? Living through that, if he would have just stopped what he was doing, if he would have just stopped, his children's lives would have been better a long time ago. But instead, and you got to be careful with these kind of men. And, you know, I do spiritual work for a lot of women with exes like this. What you have to do is not about getting back with them, because even if you get back with them, you're going to be back with the father of your children. He still ain't going to do nothing for you. Okay. The reality of it is that these people waste their own energy. Okay. And I've talked about that several times. And you can even tell because the way it will manifest after the relationship is over, they're still stuck on stupid. They still don't understand. They just don't get it. And see, there could be something wrong with that person's cognition. You know, you see what I'm saying? Either maybe through drugs, maybe they never were very smart. And so a man that is smart, he is going to want his children to be in a stable situation. Even if you didn't have that stability as a child, you should not want your children that you gave birth to go through that same thing. But see, we have a lot of parents that are childish. We do. And I'm not talking about just men. It's men and women that can be childish. They just don't want to see their kids do any better. So what they do is they spend all of their energy throwing out curses at them and stuff. And see, you can get all that removed. And some of y'all, it's an ongoing thing. Some of y'all got to keep removing them curses because, you know, men, they have a tendency to influence other men. And what they'll do is they'll go around and, you don't want that. And they steadily putting bad energy. And then all their energy is going towards the children. And they want the children to act as bad as possible, so another man wouldn't stick around the woman. And it's just really sad because, you know, a lot of that can be prevented if you just trust the process. And a lot of people can't do it. They have no trust. And now I'm talking about actual trust. Because if you got trust, then you probably gonna have a trust fund for your children. Nobody wants somebody that's broken down and out. Nobody wants that. So, you know, even if somebody was stupid and the man was probably thinking to himself, well, she real stupid because she want to be with me and I'm broke and I ain't got nothing to offer. And I've seen people that ain't even broke and they don't want to take care of their kids. They just, you know, it's like something snaps inside of them to where, you know, they'll just want to make things harder on the woman, which means that you're making things harder on the children. And if there is a nice woman or a man that's willing to come along and deal with all of that burden, they want to quickly deflect that person and get that person off. Because see, a lot of times these men will selfishly do harm to their own children. I've seen them do it, and I've seen women do that as well. And thank God, when you know how you have that one parent that just ain't, I mean, my God, this person, Lord have mercy. But then you have another parent that's doing it all. You know what I'm saying? And they doing the damn thing and they making it happen. And so that's what children want. Children want stability. They don't want a parent that's in their feelings. Oh, I can't get out of bed. I can't do this. And then by the time, you know, literally there's a lot of people that will do that, and they will feel comfortable with doing that. They'll feel comfortable with it. And you shouldn't feel comfortable with that. You should feel bad about that. You should feel very, very bad, because let me tell you what ends up happening. The mother ends up dealing with loneliness, depression, and you say, oh, well, you should have just stayed with me and you wouldn't have to deal with that. Well, yes, she did, because she was lonely and depressed when she had you. You was either cheating or not there or not doing something. So, you know, a lot of women and a lot of men just figure, hell, I'll just do bad on my own. But it's mainly women that affects, because there's not a whole lot of men that are emotionally, physically, and spiritually prepared to deal with those. That's why I like single fathers. I'll date a single father. And the reason why I will date a single father is because, you know, we're in the same boat. So that's actually not a problem. I understand that a lot of men go around and they degrade women for doing that. But if you're smart as a woman, and if you are divorced, then a lot of times the single fathers are actually a better choice, because they have more of an understanding for you. Now, there's some people that are single fathers and they just stupid. They just don't have much sense. They're terrible providers. Another thing that they'll do, and I noticed this, and see, this is why a lot of people can't stand their father, you know, and so a lot of these men, you know, your kids will tell you that they love you, but deep down they really can't stand you, because their entire life they have had to go without, because you couldn't do your job as a father. And then if the relationship didn't work out and the woman moved on, you even further abandon the children even further, because I don't care if a woman put child support on me. I don't care if I'm getting money taken out of my paycheck. I'm still going to go and give my children my money. So a lot of these men will think, well, I'm paying child support. You paying back the state, you know, people that had to step in and take care of your kids because you wasn't man enough to do it. And you can't get mad at the woman. Actually, women that leave a nothing man like that just ain't about nothing. They're actually doing it for the safety and the betterment of their children, because it's not good for your sons or your daughters to see some man sitting around lacking in every area possible. I mean, all of it, intellect, you know, and it's funny because a lot of these men, they'll have something obviously spiritually wrong with them, right? And they'll constantly be trying to put that bad energy off on their children. Some of them don't do that, but some of them actually do. And so they don't want their children to do better than they did. So they'll do things like not encourage them to go to college, and college is a good experience for kids. But a man that's cheap and poor and broke, he's going to discourage the kids going to college. You know why? Because if your kids go to college, then you have to continue to pay child support until they're 25. So a lot of these men don't want no ties with their kids. And if it were not for the state forcing them to do it, they would not support their own children. Okay? They just wouldn't do it. I'm just telling y'all the truth about the situation. Somebody like that shouldn't even be calling themselves a father or a mother. You know, because there's a lot of us, boy, we bust our butts every single day. You know, you got to get them till they at the age where they can support themselves, and they bust their butts every single day to make it happen for their families and their children. And then you got some people that just don't care. These are usually the people that are talking and yelling the loudest, but they ain't got nothing to put with it. Okay? If a lot of these people would put their money and their intellect where their mouth is, then we wouldn't have any problems. So, you know, and so then they'll start to speak Bible verses to you, and then that's when you just have to walk away, because it's just bad. You know, they'll start speaking Bible verses to you and trying to convince you as to why you should sit around and struggle your whole damn life, and that's not right. Look, I would never ever tell a woman to stay with a man that is creating struggle in her life, whether or not it's emotionally, mentally, physically, or financially. If a man is bringing struggle into your life, you do not stay with him. You don't. I'm sorry. And you know what? Back when I was having children, when I was younger, you know, I was dumb. I was dumb. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wanted to be a mother, but I was still dumb. When I was in my 20s, I was so damn dumbed down. I was like a puppet. I really was. And so a lot of women, they will end up with these types of men. And I mean, they will try to become a thorn in your butt for the rest of your life. And there's a way out of that. Okay, now I can tell you something, that there's a lot of men in social media, in particular on YouTube. And since they can't, you know, the baby mama done changed her phone number, she done moved, she done relocated. So these men have no one else to blame but themselves, and they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, trying to figure it out. You know, I guess they're doing some brainstorming. I think it's more so brain atrophy is what they're doing. And they'll come and harass women out in social media because they can't harass the baby mama. So a lot of us are like surrogate baby mamas for some of these men out here in social media. Okay? And it's sad, but it's the truth. Whatever they can't put off on their ex, they'll try to come out in social media and put it off on you. And you're like, hey, wait, whoa, buddy. Whoa, wait a minute. If you would accept that the situation is over, and then maybe some of these women might even decide to go back if you get yourself together. But if you're just sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, ain't nobody gonna want you. And then you're gonna sit around and be bitter and waste everybody's time and waste energy and waste the internet waves and waste bandwidth online whining and complaining, when in reality, you need to learn to move on. Okay? A good man or woman is not going to sit around whining and complaining. And another thing that a lot of women can't stand is that these men, they have a choice, don't you? But women, we don't have no choice. Reason why I have to get up every day and go get it is because I don't have a choice. I can't ever say to my children, I don't have it. And you know what? Not when it comes to their basic needs. I won't ever say that to them. I don't have it. I say to them, I'm going to get it. That's what I say to them. But there's a lot of people, their pockets is filled with lint, and they really don't know what it is that they're doing. They have no idea what it is to be a provider. And unfortunately, there's a lot of women that, ended up having to take on the role of the man and the woman because this man is scraggling behind her. He ain't got nothing to offer her. And he's just literally, and I've actually seen men go to witches to put curses and bind a woman all up, and I don't want nobody around my children. And it's probably because she misjudged when she dealt with you. So you sitting up there judging her judgment based upon her decision to be with you. But obviously she has very good judgment because she decided to leave you to go get something better in her life. And that is the door opening for you. As soon as that door closes, when she packs your stuff up and puts it to the left, okay, everything you own is in a box to the left. Then you got to, when that door closes, another one is going to open. And what you need to do is you need to take that into it, and you need to realize the reality of the situation instead of complaining all around the internet like a grown child. That's ridiculous. And see, the reason why I say that is because, you know, they say that people that you're at work with, you know, even though I don't work for YouTube, we're all on YouTube, they can manifest themselves as either your ex or either your father. And they always have an excuse as to why they can't do nothing or ain't gonna do nothing for their children. I've had my ex doing stuff to me for years. I ain't never made no excuse. Back before I started my business, I got my butt up every day. I took those kids either to daycare or school, and I got my butt to work. That's what a parent does. They don't sit around complaining. You're doing your children a disservice when you do that every single time. Okay? So if you are somebody that is doing that, you got to get some work done on yourself, because the problem is that, you know, you've been afflicted by something. And I think I personally think that it's a demonic entity that's attacking children, is personally what I think. Because, you know, you would think that a person would get their stuff together, but they don't. So when it comes to women and when it comes to being a single mother, that's just the reality. Because no woman is going to stay with a loser. She's not going to do it. And you can't go around and try to make it look like she a loser too, because she ain't. She lost you. She lost that extra dead weight. But you're the loser, because guess what? You didn't take care of your children, and then now you're telling other people, don't be there for those kids. Don't be there for them. Do like I did and abandon them. And that's exactly what you're doing. So and especially if you come from a broken home, why would you purposely put your children in this situation and make it unbearable for a woman to stay with you? Why would you do that? Could it be that it's a piece of crap? Could be. And nobody's going to want that. If you're a hardworking mother, men are very interested in that. They are. If you're doing stuff, if you're doing what you got to do for your family, men respect that. And unfortunately, you always have to give your new men a disclaimer. Yeah, my ex is blah, 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 blah. And you got to go through all sorts of changes. You got to do unbindings. You got to do breakup. You got to do cord cuttings and stuff. And then you got to go through all this. Because see, that man or that woman is constantly speaking to the children and their spirit. And you can even feel their nasty spirit. You have to sage your house at least once a week, because their little nasty spirit is just hanging around and just won't let go. And that's exactly what they need to do, so that your children can have a chance at life, and a happy life. Okay? So anyway, that's the reality of having children with someone. And I've seen so many men that if I had $1 for every man that ran around here and tried to, and basically what it ends up being, is that woman and those children turn into sacrifices for that man, because that's probably what they were from the beginning. So you have to really, really, really be careful. And, these women and these children, they don't deserve to just be without support and love their whole life. Just, and the spirits don't see it that way, baby. Spirits is going to protect those children. Bless you, sweetie. Spirits is going to protect those children, especially if that woman is asking for that protection. And they're going to bring a good husband into that woman's life, because you could not do it. And same thing, vice versa. But like I said, rarely do you have a woman that has that problem. It's typically the male's issue. This is a man's issue. And so instead of them making a better life for themselves, they run around whining and complaining. Okay? So if you take care of your children in the first place, you won't have no reason to be saying silly stuff like that. You won't have no reason. Because why should that woman get back with you? Because you have children with her? No, she shouldn't. That's not always true. A lot of these relationships are being arranged too. So if you have a deranged lunatic male that comes into your life, and you never know who that might be. So some of these people were chosen, and I've actually seen it. I've actually seen elders bring the most disgusting loser into their child's life, and then they end up with children by them, and then there goes the struggle. Okay, so anyway, if you are a woman that is dealing with somebody like that, or if you are a man, you can definitely contact me. Listen, I am 100% sure of what I am talking about. And they never stop. They never stop. It's going to be an ongoing struggle with these men. They're going to stick around for years and years and years and years to come. And it just be years and years of a bunch of crap that ain't doing nobody no good. Okay? You get you somebody, she gets her somebody, and maybe y'all can have a picnic together. Who knows? That's the way that it should be. Okay? But see, there's a lot of people that want to be bitter and they want to control people. And they'll end up controlling them children too. So it's actually not really good. If you have an ex like that, it's very important to cut the cord to them, because a lot of times when women are leaving a man like that, it's usually because he's a child, just like the kids. He just really don't have much ability to support a family. So if you can't even support your own family, then what are you going to do? That doesn't mean that you should go and kill yourself or kill your family, kill the kids, talk crazy, whining and complaining about the same thing for years and years. That ain't going to do nobody any good. Okay. Anyway, you guys can reach me if you need to. The link to my website is below. Thank you so much for watching. Love, light, and blessings.